may not be suitable for all audiences.
Today we're going to talk about something pretty fun, kind of boring.
Art 101 with Mr. Burgher.
Scholars, welcome back to another episode of Art 101 with me, Mr. Burgher. I'm a professional artist and master educator, and I attempt to provide you with the best in art historical content. If you like the content, make sure you subscribe, share it with your friends, do all those things. That really helps me out with the algorithms and all that stuff, and I will do my part in continuing to provide what I'm offering.
That's right.
It wasn't too long ago, and I threw it out to you, the viewers of Art 101 with Mr. Burgher. What kind of content would you like in the upcoming year? And then the overwhelming response was, we want some content on Impressionism. And so today, I'm not going to talk about an Impressionist per se, but a Neo-Impressionist. This is the artistry, as you know, because you clicked on the video, of Georges Seurat. So let's jump on in and take a look. Georges Seurat was a very impressive post-impressionist that we have looked at in the past, but again, I want to examine his work because it's just so influential. His father was a quiet lawyer who often was withdrawn from others. He was only at home one day a week, but preferred to be alone or working in his garden. These are qualities that he would pass along to his son. Young Georges Seurat was first exposed to painting by one of his mother's brothers, or his uncle, Paul Montfavre. Uncle Paul was a textile dealer and well known as an amateur painter. As Seurat grew up, he would become a very well-dressed and seclusive sort of person. He was a serious and studious person. He didn't really like spending money going out with his friends, but would rather spend his money on books. Through his studies, he had developed a curiosity for color theory, as well as an interest in the science of optics. It was through these studies that he learned of Ogden and Rood and his color theories. Rood had discovered, among other things, that color will look different depending upon the colors that it's next to. Now up to this point, Georges Seurat had taken some drawing classes from sculptor Justin Lequin in 1875 before moving his studies to the École des Beaux-Arts in 1878 under Henry Lehmann. Side note, although Seurat would study at the prestigious school of École des Beaux-Arts, he did have a bit of disdain for the process of this formal education and its strict academic standards. He preferred his education at the local libraries and museums in Paris, which were some of the best in the world, to this formal school.
I can't fail this class.
Oh, don't sell yourself short, Mr. Coates. I truly believe that you can.
Georges Seurat personally liked the Impressionists, and it was during his art training that he began to evolve his style, somewhat going away from their soft style. He began his professional career in the 1880s and would go on to found new art concepts of art production. He wanted to fuse Rood's color ideas with his passion for painting. He would say, "I long to create something new, a kind of painting that is entirely my own." Seurat would make solid forms by building up small dots packed together. The viewer's eye did the mixing. Originally, this dotted style was called divisionism, but Seurat didn't really like that name, so he tried to rename it to chromoluminarism. However, the public and galleries and critics preferred the name by which it is known today, pointillism, sometimes in the category of Neo-Impressionism as well. But either way, Seurat was a very systematic type of artist with his approach, his means, and overall product that he was making artistically. He saw art more like a science lab experiment than he did anything else. He also had set very specific hours and a very specific system for his painting process. He was completely loyal to his method and his idea for how art was to be created. Although many artists admired what he was doing, only a few were able to work in that specific style, the way that he had intended it to be done. The first artist to really be influenced dramatically by the work of Georges Seurat was Paul Signac. Soon they would band into a group of pointillist painters that consisted primarily of Georges Seurat, Paul Signac, Albert Dubois Pillet, Charles Grande, Camille Pissarro, his son Lucien Pissarro, and Maximilien Luce.
I, for one, enjoy watching them.
No,
because
stop. Just don't.
Can I finish? Is that okay? I was saying...
In 1879, Georges Seurat took a year off of creating artwork to serve in the military. He really thrived on the order that he found while he was serving in the military and spent his off time sketching the people around the base and ships in the ports. In 1880, he would go back to Paris, where he was motivated to mastering pencil and charcoal drawing. And shortly thereafter, he also became very interested in working on some very large canvas paintings. One of his most known and recognized of these large works is called A Sunday Afternoon on the Island of Grande, Jatte. He began the project in the summer of 1884. He would create over 200 sketches and studies that would begin the process of creating what would become this great painting. All of his time, all of his focus went into this one work. Studies were done on site, on location, by day, and then he would take that work to his studio and at night would work to organize his ideas, and later those works would be placed onto the canvas in his studio under the light of the gas lamps. There are over 3.5 million marks that were made to mix these 6 primary and secondary colors. There is no black, there is no white, there is no brown. Just pure hues of color that mixed by eyesight. After completing the work, it was first placed on display in the 1886 Impressionist Art Show. This is the last of the Impressionist art exhibitions. Without a shadow of a doubt, this was the main attraction of the show that year. This particular painting had a new and different look when compared to all of the true Impressionist works. And that's where the name Neo-Impressionist began after that show by an art critic who saw that this was a different, new way of creating Impressionism. And with that, post-impressionism was born with Seurat and his Sunday Afternoon on the Island of Grande, Jatte. Side note, in April of 1879, a 19-year-old Georges Seurat would visit the 4th Impressionist exhibition, and this would be the first time that he would see Impressionist paintings and the work of artists like Claude Monet and Camille Pissarro in real life, and this would greatly influence his love and passion as a young man for the Impressionist artworks that he would use as inspiration moving forward.
Well, they whip kids to teach them better.
How does an artist come up with the starting price for their artwork? Georges Seurat would say, I compute my expenses on the basis of 1 year at 7 francs a day. A down-to-earth system and an extremely low cost for a Seurat painting, to be sure. He was gaining popularity, but not the financial rewards that will often come with becoming more well-known. He wanted full credit for his ideas and his original techniques, but the artwork, well, those were just the results of his ideas and techniques, nothing more than that. In the mid-1890s, he was nearing the age of 30 and chose to move to a brand new studio. This was a secret location. He did not tell his family or his friends where this new studio was to be located. That's kind of bizarre. Why in the world would he do that? Was he perhaps working on a project so secret that he feared that if it was seen before it was revealed to the art world that all would be lost? Well, no, not exactly. The reason for this was that he was living with a model by the name of Madeleine Knobloch, who was actually pregnant with his child, who would be born on February the 16th, 1890. Georges Seurat would give the boy his name and legally accepted his son as his own, but yet refused to introduce the baby or the child's mother to his mother or the rest of his family or friends. In a twist of events, it was 2 days before Georges Seurat would actually die, and he would make the choice to introduce his new family to his mother. Having contracted meningitis, he died at the age of 32. Most, including his close ally Paul Signac, thought that he had literally worked himself to death. And sadly, his son would also die shortly thereafter. For many artists, to make such a great impact on their own time is somewhat rare. To have such a long-lasting impact on the art world is truly extraordinary. Georges Seurat started his professional career at the age of 23 years old and died at 31, but still made a profound influence not only on his own time, but all of art history. His influence is still seen to this day. What a truly inspirational artist, although a little quirky, a little bit unique, but hey, he's an artist. We're all a little bit quirky, we're all a little bit unique, and the power of his artwork truly speaks for itself. Scholars, I hope you enjoy that as much as I absolutely love being able to bring it to you. Thanks for watching, you have yourself a good day, and we'll see you next time.
I don't want to talk to you no more, you empty-headed animal food trough whopper!